students, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic in financial management, that is financial planning and financial forecasting. So today we will discuss what is the meaning of financial plans, what is the meaning of financial forecasting, what are the different techniques of financial forecasting, what are the different types of financial plans, what are the characteristic features of financial plans, and what are the advantages of financial planning. First, we will understand what is the meaning of financial plan. So, a financial plan that estimates the amount of funds that are required for running the business organization, and also what is the proportion of debt and equity which is required so that the capital can be raised. So, that is the meaning of a financial plan. So, we all know that to run any type of business organizations, we require funds, we require resources. So, we have to plan in advance how to raise that funds. So, we have to plan and accordingly. So, that process of planning the funds and procuring the funds, that is called as financial planning. So, financial planning means deciding in advance what are our financial activities to be carried out in the forthcoming years, and in order to achieve those financial activities, so what are the funds which are required, from where we are going to raise the funds, what are the sources of the funds, and what are the resources which are required, which are going to be planned in advance, and that whole process is referred to as financial planning. So, financial plan is only a blueprint, it is only a draft. So, it only estimates what is the sources of funds, what are the proportion of funds, what are the proportion of your debt and equity, the mixture of funds. Whereas, on the other hand, so financial plan is to be carried out in a series of steps. So, all that series of steps is referred to as financial planning. So, financial planning means receiving, that is deciding in advance. So, how much funds we require, what are the funds, what are the sources, what are the resources, and how we are going to raise the funds, for what purposes we require the funds. So, carrying out all these things in a sequence, in a step-by-step manner, and that process is referred to as financial planning. So, financial plans are also required in order to attain the basic objective of the firm, that is the shareholders' wealth maximization. So, in order to attain the objectives of the firm also, we require funds, and for which we require financial plans. Next, we will try to understand what are the objectives of a financial plan. So, what are the various characteristic features and what are the objectives of financial plan, that is financial planning. A financial manager carries on the financial plan with the following objectives. First, to ensure availability of sufficient funds. The first important objective of financial planning is to ensure that the funds are available at any point of time. So, to ensure availability of the sufficient funds which are required to carry on the business operations. Apart from that, the other objectives of financial plan also includes to balance the risk and costs. So, to raise the funds, there are a lot of risks which are involved, a lot of costs are also involved in that. So, a financial manager ensures that there is a proper balance between the risk and costs, because for raising the funds there are a lot of costs which are involved. At the same time, there is also a financial risk present in the financial plans. So, how best he is able to manage or balance the risk and costs, so that is the aim, or that is the objective of financial plan. The other objective of financial plans are, the plans should be simple. So, there must be an element of simplicity. The plan should be easy to understand. So, they should be simple. There must be an element of simplicity. Then apart from that, there must be flexibility. The financial plan should never be rigid. So, they should not be rigid so that the changes cannot be accommodated. Financial plans always have to be simple and flexible, and at the same time they should also ensure liquidity. Liquidity in the sense that means availability of the resources of the funds whenever required. Whenever the firm requires money, the firm must be able to have sufficient funds, ensuring that availability of funds, that is also one of the important objective of financial plan. then the funds which are being raised, they must be put to optimum usage. They must be used for all the purposes. And one point to be kept in mind always is resources are very, very scarce, and they have to be used optimally. They have to be used only to productive purposes, and they should be used only for those purposes which are productive and which are going to be profitable. And finally, the final objective of financial plans are, the financial plan should be prepared with economy. That is, they must be economical financial plans. Economy in the sense we should be able to get more benefit with least cost. So that means there must be a cost benefit analysis of the financial plans before implementing those financial plans. So these are all the various objectives of financial plans, and whenever the financial plans are prepared, these objectives have to be borne in mind by the financial manager. Financial plans should possess certain important characteristic features. So if these characteristic features are present, then we can say that the financial plans are sound, they are foolproof, they are economical. So these financial plans should possess certain important characteristic features, like they should be simple to prepare. So the financial plan should not be complicated. So they should be easily understandable. So they should be simple to understand. And all the financial plans are prepared for future. So there must be always a foresight. Foresight in the sense that means the financial plans should think about ahead. So the plans are drafted only for the future periods of time. So there should be foresight in the financial plans. They should be flexible so that the changes can be accommodated. So one of the important, very important characteristic feature of a sound financial plan is the financial plan should be flexible. So that the changes can be incorporated, and so that any sort of opportunities or any changes are available, they can also be accommodated in the financial plans. So the financial plan should be flexible. At the same time, they should also ensure liquidity. So financial plans can be prepared for short term as well as long term purposes also. So in the short term, whenever the financial plans are prepared, they should have also another feature like liquidity. So liquidity ensures that the firm has sufficient funds to meet all its requirements on time without any default. So that is called as liquidity. So the financial plan also should have a scope for liquidity. And the plan should be prepared economically. So too much of expenditure or cost should not be involved in the preparation of financial plans. So they should ensure economy. So the plan should give more benefit with the least cost. So then only we can say the financial plans are economical. And the financial plan should also have some place or some scope even for any sort of contingencies. So contingencies are any sort of unforeseen situations or any sort of situations which are not been planned accordingly. So there should be also, the plan should also accommodate certain amount of resources to meet any sort of contingencies which may occur in future, which cannot be predicted with accuracy. Then finally, the another important characteristic feature of financial plan is there must be optimum risk. Optimum risk, that means the financial plan should involve all such type of plans depending on what is the amount of risk the firm is willing to take. So the plan should be prepared with optimum risk, that is with minimal risk, and accordingly the plans have to be prepared so that it will be beneficial to the firm. So if all these characteristic features are found in any financial plans, then we can say that that financial plan is a sound financial plan which will be able to provide it will be able to ensure that the firm will be able to attain the objectives in the long run. So these are the very important characteristic features of a sound financial plan. The financial plans are only the documents or they are only the blueprint, whereas financial planning is a process. So financial planning is a process which ensures which has to be carried out in a series of steps. So the various steps involved in the financial planning are, So the first important step in the financial planning is the financial plan should make a projection of the financial statements. So the financial statements of the previous years have to be taken into account. The financial statements include, that is, the profit and loss account and the balance sheet, the cash flow statements. So all these statements have to be taken of the previous years, have to be considered for projecting your financial requirements for the future. So there must be a projection of the financial statements by using certain techniques for projecting the resources which are required for the future operations or your future activities. Then the second important step is we have to determine how much amount of the funds are needed. So every business organization will be having different departments. The organization is divided into different departments. So every department require funds. So there must be a determination of funds which are needed by every department. So they should come out with some requirements. So what are the various requirements of the funds which are required by every department? So that has to be projected. Then the third step is the financial manager also has to forecast what are the availability of funds, what are the sources of funds, from where the funds can be raised. So what are the various sources from where the funds can be tapped, or what are the various long term, short term, moderate term sources which are available. Internal, external, outside. So wherever the sources are available, so the financial manager should be able to forecast what are the availability of the funds, what are the various sources from where the funds can be tapped or from where the funds can be raised. Then establish and maintain the systems of control. So apart from only ensuring financial requirement, the funds also have to be put to optimum utility. They have to be put to optimum usage. So we have to ensure that there are certain systems of controls which are to be maintained, so that to ensure that the funds are being used properly or being utilized purposefully and for only productive purposes, and also there is a proper control over the funds. Then establishing a performance based management compensation system is also one of the important step in the financial planning. That is establishing a performance based management compensation system. Now whichever department is using the funds properly, appropriately, or they are using it optimally, so there must be some performance measurement in place so that we can ensure that the funds are being used properly. So there must be some system in place where the performance can be measured periodically and they can be rewarded by using some compensation system. So these are all the various steps involved in the financial planning. So financial planning is not a single step, it has to be carried out in a series of steps. So that's why this is called as process. So financial planning process it is referred to as. So financial planning process involves a series of steps which cannot be carried out in a single step, and it has to be carried out in a sequence, one step after the other. So this is the process of financial planning. As I told you earlier, the financial plans can be prepared for different periods of time. So if they are prepared for longer periods, then it is called as long-term financial plan. That is, financial plans can be broadly classified into two categories. We have short-term financial plans and long-term financial plans. So long-term financial plans are those plans where the layout of the firm's financial actions, the resources, what is the impact of those actions over a period of time can be measured and can be accommodated in a long-term financial plan. So long-term financial plans are prepared usually for a period of more than 5 years. For example, if the firm want to purchase an financial asset, if it want to purchase an asset, so it has to plan ahead and it has to plan by what time they want to procure that asset, or if they want to replace an old asset with a new asset. So they have to have an financial plan in place. So such type of financial plans are called as long-term financial plans, because they have to plan their capital expenditure, the requirements, the term, the resources, the sources, so the repayment module, all these they have to plan ahead, and such type of plans are called as long-term financial plans. Then Coming to what are short-term financial plans. So short-term financial plans, usually they are prepared for a very short period. So they are called as short-term, and it is usually range between 1 to 2 years. So what are the various resources, what are our financial actions, what are the financial requirements, and what are the impact of our financial actions over those 1 or 2 years of period of time, so that are going to be planned in these short term financial plans. So in the short term financial plans, the focus is majorly only for a year or two. So here they are going to meet all types of short term requirements. So they are going to majorly focus on what are the various short term resources, what are the various short term requirements. So it is basically only for your planning of your resources only for a short period, that is a period between ranging between 1 to 2 years. So financial plans can be short term financial plans as well as long term financial plans. Now in order to prepare these financial plans, the manager, that is the financial manager, has to consider certain factors. So they have to consider certain important factors before drafting these financial plans. So what are those important factors which are going to affect the financial plans? So the list which I'm going to mention, this is an exhaustive list. That doesn't mean that these are the only factors. So there could be a few other factors also, depending on the size of the firm, depending on the nature of the firm, and firm to firm a few other factors also may be added. So these are the broad, very important general factors which are going to affect the financial plans. So what are they? The first one is, at the time of preparing the financial plans, the financial manager has to consider what is the nature of the industry. Nature of industry in the sense that means to which industry the firm belongs to. So industries are again of different types, like manufacturing industry, processing industries, service industry, construction industry. So like that, industries are again of different types, but we have to understand to which industry our firm belongs to, because the nature of industry also determines our financial requirements. So that is the first important factor which we have to consider, that is the industry to which we belong to. The second important factor is the company status. The company status in terms of what is the status of the company, in terms of what is the size, what is the type of the company, whether it is an sole proprietary concern or whether it is a limited company or it is an unlimited company, what is the size of the company, what is the age of the company. So all these factors also have to be considered. Then at the time of preparing the financial plans, even we also have to look upon what are the various alternative sources of finances which are available. So we should not never focus only on one or two sources. We should always scout for what are the various other alternative sources which are available in the market. So the focus should be on raising the funds from various sources, from various alternative sources of funds. Then we also have to look upon what is the top management attitude towards the control. So whether they want to retain the control or whether they want to dilute the control or whether they want to have a concentration on the resources. So accordingly, even the control factor also will determine what are our financial requirements. Then it also depends on what is the percentage or what is the proportion of external capital requirements. So whether we want to go for a debt equity mix, how much percentage of debt we want to raise it from outside sources, and what are our equity sources. So even the external capital requirements, that is what is the proportion or magnitude of external capital requirements, also determines what are your capital requirements. So even the capital structure, so what type of all sources we want to raise, how our capital structure is going to be, so what are the various components of our capital structure, so that will also determine what are the financial plans, how we have to focus on our financial plans accordingly. So the financial plans, another very important factor is also flexibility. So flexibility in the sense that is the plans should never be rigid, they should be very flexible so that the changes can be accommodated. At the time of preparing the financial plans, we also need to take into consideration even the government policies, government norms. So are there any policies which are going to affect our financial plans? That also should be considered at the time of preparing the financial plans. So these are all the various factors which are going to determine the financial plans. So a financial manager has to take into consideration all these financial factors, all these factors accordingly, and then determine the financial plan. So though financial plans provide a lot of advantages to the firm, but they also at the same time suffer from a few limitations, like all these financial plans are prepared for future, and future is full of uncertainty. So it is very difficult to forecast all the events with 100% accuracy. So there is a difficulty in accurate forecasting the financial events or the financial activities. And for the preparation of the financial plans, we require a lot of coordination from various departments. But there is a very important drawback, that there is an absence of coordination. And mostly once the financial plans are prepared, they become rigid. There is very little scope for incorporating the changes. Mostly the financial plans are rigid. And in case of certain types of firms where there are a lot of technological changes and customer preferences, so preparation of long-term financial plans may not be of any use. So because of rapid technological changes and customer preferences, so the preparation of long-term financial plans will reduce the utility, and they limit the utility of the financial plans. So these are the drawbacks of the financial plans. So that's about the financial planning. Now coming to what is financial forecasting. Financial forecasting is nothing but predicting the future events. So basically financial forecasting, after financial forecasting, then the financial planning is done. So before financial planning, financial forecasting has to be carried out. So what is the meaning of financial forecasting? So financial forecasting is an process of predicting the future conditions, future economic conditions on the basis of past and present information. So forecasting is basically predicting the future events based on our past information, past as well as even the present data which is available. So financial forecasting is a technique. So it's basically a tool, it's a technique to analyze what are our financial requirements, what are our financial activities which have to be carried out in the future. So it is a technique to analyze what are the various economic, social and financial forces which are affecting our business, with an object so that we can predict all those future events with some amount of accuracy based on past and present information, so that will become the basis for our financial planning. So basically financial forecasting is a technique. So it is a technique to analyze our financial requirements based on our economic conditions, social conditions, political conditions, government policies and financial conditions which are going to affect our business, our operations, so that we can objectively predict what are our future events, so that we can plan properly and we can plan all our requirements with utmost accuracy. So that is the meaning of financial forecasting. Why financial forecasting is required? What is the importance? So the importance automatically will become our advantages also. So why financial forecasting is required? What is the importance? Basically financial forecasting is used, or it is basically adopted for establishing new type of businesses. So whenever we want to start any type of new business, financial forecasting is a must. We have to forecast about our requirements, we have to forecast about the competition, we have to forecast about the demand, we have to forecast about the customers' preferences. So before establishing any type of new businesses, the financial forecasting is a must. Then for formulating the financial plans, so as I told you just now, so the financial plans are prepared based on financial forecasting. So first financial forecasting has to be completed, based on that financial plans are prepared. So for formulating all our financial plans, so financial forecasting is a must. Then also for estimating our financial requirements, financial needs, so we need to do a financial forecasting. So for estimating all our future financial needs and requirements, financial forecasting is a must. Then financial forecasting also enable managerial decisions for taking different types of decisions pertaining to finances, financial activities. So for facilitating managerial decisions, financial forecasting is going to be very, very helpful. Then with the help of financial forecasting, the quality of the decision making can be improved. So the quality of management decisions, the management functions can be carried out with utmost quality with the help of financial forecasting. And it also encourages cooperation and coordination. So financial forecasting has to be done it cannot be done in isolation, it has to be done in a teamwork. So it is for which we require lot of cooperation from the various departments. So financial forecasting will ensure that there is a proper cooperation and coordination between the various departments. And forecasting also ensures there is a proper utilization of resources. Then for the success of the businesses, in any type of businesses, we require financial forecasting. Financial forecasting ensures success in the business. So those are the various advantages, or you can say that is the importance of financial forecasting. Then even financial forecasting is a process. So the various steps involved in the financial forecasting are: the first step is we need to develop a basis, that is we need to know for what we have to do financial forecasting. What is the basis of financial forecasting? Developing a base. Then estimating our future business operations. So we have to identify what are the areas where financial forecasting is required. So what are our future business operations where you require financial forecasting. Then we also have to compare our forecasted results with that of the actual results, so that we can compare, so that we can understand is there any deviation or have we attained whatever we have forecasted. Then apart from that, a proper review and feedback is also very, very essential for a successful forecasting. And for the purpose of forecasting, we are going to basically use all types of data, that is both primary and secondary sources are used for collecting the data, for the purpose of financial forecasting. Then forecast can be again of different types. So the forecasting for a business can be done, it can be general business forecast. Mostly it is a capital forecast, as well as even a sales forecast, profit forecast. So general business forecast will be the different types of your requirements, resources, whereas sales forecast also is one of the kind of a financial forecast apart from the capital forecast. So these are the three kinds of financial forecasts. Then coming to what are the different methods of forecasting. Now, in order to forecast the financial requirements, there are different methods which are used by the businesses. There are different methods which are used by the firms to do a proper forecasting. So basically there are certain traditional methods as well as certain scientific methods are used. So basically the first important method is direct or bottom up method. Under this method, every business organization will be having different departments. Every department will forecast their requirements. Then after projecting all the departmental forecasts, then they are going to be reconciled, and for the organization as a whole they are going to do a financial forecasting. So that method is called as direct or bottom up method. The second one is an indirect or top down method. Now in this technique, in this forecasting method, the industry as a whole will be going to forecast the requirements, and based on the industry forecast, then the individual businesses or the individual firms will forecast it, and this forecasting is usually done at the top level, that is by the top management. The third method is historical method. Historical method based on past information, based on the past historical events. So based on that, the historical method has been developed. The next one is deductive method, based on subjective evaluation, experience, intuition of the forecaster. So based on that, accordingly the forecasting is done by the manager or the forecaster. Then we have a joint opinion method. As the name itself says, it is an joint opinion where the experts from various fields are going to join for doing a forecasting. So that method is called as joint opinion method. Then these are all certain old methods. Now they have developed a new scientific business forecasting methods like business index or barometer method. So business index is by using certain type of indices, like we have the stock exchange index or consumer index, so wholesale price index. So like that, using certain barometers, they are going to project, they are going to forecast the requirements. The next one is we have the mathematical projection. So mathematical or extrapolation method or mathematical projection based on certain projections. And after estimating a future value by using certain mathematical values, then they are going to be reduced, or they are going to use it by certain arithmetic trend method or exponential curve method. So by using certain methods, they are going to do the business forecasting. Then we have regression, a statistical technique. Then apart from that, we have the econometric models, which are of limited usage because all the economic activities have to be expressed in terms of mathematical equations, so which is not possible. So econometric models are not of much importance. So these are all the various methods of forecasting. Hope you all by now you all must have understood what is the meaning of financial planning and financial forecasting. So in this we have understood, we have tried to learn about what is the meaning of financial plan, the process of financial planning, financial forecasting, the techniques of financial forecasting, and how to use the financial forecasting techniques. Thank you all.